I just ask, for very small condition. UFC say no, and that's it. Not $1 million, not $1 million, 100% not $1 million. I'm gonna take this belt, defense like 3-5 times, come to welterweight division.
That is interesting. So Islam is saying he never turned down the fight. He had just some special conditions. He didn't want to get into them for whatever reason, but said that they were minor. They're not $1 million requests that RDA said he heard that Islam asked for. But Dana said that Islam turned down the fight. But now Islam is saying that he never turned it down. He wanted the fight. He said that Dana went to sleep too early because they still had to work on the deal. And he really just wanted to do the UFC a favor by stepping up on short notice. There's a comment under that video that had the same exact thought I had immediately when I heard that Islam said he never turned down the fight and he didn't know what was happening. Remember when Khabib said he got a quote-unquote fake contract around the time he fought Michael Johnson? He said that he was supposed to be the one to fight for the belt, but then Conor got involved, and then everything started to be weird about the whole contract situation, the negotiations about it, the talks about it, and now that Conor is potentially coming back again, is starting to happen to Islam Makhachev. Khabib had a long win streak back then. Islam Makhachev has a long win streak now. They're both related to each other in some way. But instead of being angry about it the way Khabib was really mad when that happened to him. Islam is more content and taking the Max Holloway route and saying, I'm just going to beat everybody no matter what. It's regardless if I win the belt or not. But he wants to win the belt, and he gave his future plans. This is interesting. This is not what Khabib wanted to do. Islam wants to make history by defending the belt 3 to 5 times. If he defends it more than 3 times, he beats the record. Title defense record for the lightweight division is 3. He beats a 4 or 5, he beats that record, automatically will be one of the greatest lightweights of all time, considering that he would have to beat high-level competition in order to do that. And then he said he's going to jump up to welterweight because what he saw that night, what he saw on the 272 card, was easy work for him. He said he could beat Colby and Jorge in the same night after he saw their performances. But he also did say that he's going to wait for Kamaru Usman to retire, because Usman right now is looking to fight Canelo Alvarez. That's why his sights are on after beating Leon Edwards. He might be looking a little too far. Leon is a challenge. As a champion, you never want to look over your competition. But Usman wants to make a lot of money fighting Canelo Alvarez, and Islam said that he's going to make so much money that Usman is not going to come back. And then he's going to jump up to welterweight and try to win that belt, becoming the first to hold both the lightweight and welterweight title at the same time. So number one, there's multiple different possibilities of what happened with Islam's short notice fight. Either Dana moved past him, whether it be because, Islam pulled out of the fight, just like everybody was saying, or maybe what a lot of the fans are thinking. They didn't want to put Islam in a dangerous fight, hurt his potential to become a champion one day by putting him into a short notice fight with RDA. Or the request to fight RDA, Islam was asking for too much. It could be that, or there's a possibility that Ali Abdelaziz messed up the deal there, or in fact, Islam did pull out of the fight and he's not telling the truth. These are like the main 3 big reasons as to how this fight didn't happen. There's 3 different stories here, and I don't know which one is true. We still got to hear more out of this. And the reason why that is so important is because now Islam has to go and fight Beneil Dariush. And he was also scratching his head saying, who else is going to fight for the title? If it's not me, who else? Dustin lost, Chandler lost, Tony lost, Dan Hooker lost. He said, who else is there? But the answer is, of course, Conor McGregor. That's the only other guy they could be looking at. And that's probably what he's not really seeing at the moment, comparing his situation to what happened with Khabib. Right, Conor got the title shot over Khabib at that point, even though he never had a win in the lightweight division. The title defense to jump it up to welterweight, do I think that's possible for him? Yes, okay, Islam Makhachev is huge for that lightweight division. He's 5'10", but the guy's built like a beast. Looks like he can easily make the 170-pound weight class. I mean, if you look at Colby Covington, not a big guy for the welterweight division, yet he's one of the best there. Gilbert Burns, one of the other best fighters in that division, kind of small for that weight class as well. If those 2 guys can go up there and have success like that, Islam for sure can as well. And there's a bunch of talks about Islam in the training room, training with guys who are middleweights and even like heavyweights and giving them problems in the wrestling, right? Even Josh Thompson going on and saying that guys who are much bigger than Islam, credentialed wrestlers, like high-level wrestlers, strong in their own right, have said that they never felt anybody as strong as Islam before. So I don't see the strength difference between the welterweights and him being anything big. So fighting at welterweight is definitely a possibility. But in the lightweight division, who would he have to beat in order to get up to the welterweight division? Who would he have to defend his title against? Well, firstly, he's gonna have to fight the winner of Oliveira and Gaethje most likely. Or at least he should be. If it's going to be Conor, I believe he beats all those 3 guys. Besides, Oliveira might be the hardest fight, right? Oliveira's jiu-jitsu and his superior striking compared to Islam's is a well-rounded skill set that can give Islam fits. And Oliveira is a super pressuring fighter, always going to try to push Islam backwards, which is something I want to see more fighters do against guys like Khabib and Islam. Stylistically, Oliveira up there is probably the hardest fight for Islam Makhachev, and it could be the most competitive. I still can see Islam winning the fight, but Conor and Gaethje get casted aside. Like, those are not really competitive in my opinion. And he's going to be the favorite against all these guys. If he goes out there and beats Oliveira, Gaethje, or Conor, whoever is the champion at the time, now he has to defend it. Who does he defend it against? There's a potential Dustin Poirier fight. There's a potential Michael Chandler fight. Rafael Dos Anjos is looking really good these days. If Arman Tsarukyan is able to build himself up in a short amount of time and able to get up to the top 5, that's possible. Mateusz Gamrot. Out of all of these fighters, I think the only guy that can give him trouble is Arman Tsarukyan. I'm looking at the whole top 15 right now. Arman Tsarukyan, I believe, is the hardest fight for Islam Makhachev, for sure. Second, I'd probably say Michael Chandler. Those are tough fights for him. Then I would say Charles Oliveira a second time. Then I would say probably Mateusz Gamrot or Dustin Poirier. Gamrot still has to prove his grappling, right? He seems really good right now. But look at the strides he can make in that time. I believe he could be a top fighter in this division with superior grappling to most of these guys. Everybody else right now that I see gets absolutely ragdolled. I think Gaethje gets submitted easily. Dariush, he's a good grappler, but I don't think he can hang with Islam. RDA gets dominated. Tony Ferguson dominated. Dan Hooker dominated. Gillespie, I believe, loses as well. Probably gets submitted. And even on the feet, Islam can cause him a lot of problems. Conor gets ragdolled. Fiziev, I still need to see more from him, but what I see so far is I think Islam should be able to win that fight handily. Brad Riddell gets ragdolled. Ferreira gets ragdolled. So how high is the probability of Islam Makhachev defending his belt 3 to 5 times? I think it's more likely than any other fighter currently in that top 15. I don't think any fighter in the top 15 right now can defend the belt more than Islam can. And if he goes and does that successfully, how does he deal with the welterweight division, the top 5 there? I don't think he beats Usman. Usman's a little too strong, a little bit too powerful of a boxer. Takedown defense is absolutely insane. But if he could shoot in the single leg, duck under, and get the back, that fight could be over very quickly. Usman is probably the toughest fight there. I think he beats Colby Covington. Gilbert Burns is an interesting one. That's another tough fight for Islam Makhachev for sure, because it's the main thing with everybody else who's a wrestler. Gilbert Burns is just naturally good against wrestlers who shoot the takedowns in the fight. The guy's fast on the feet, he's somewhat technical, he has a lot of power, he has good wrestling in his own right, and his jiu-jitsu is insanely dangerous. Might be able to outstrike Islam Makhachev, but does Islam want to take it to the ground and risk it? If he's able to back Burns up to the cage and take him down from there, then things can change. Maybe the threat isn't so dangerous. In the center, it's going to be a problem. But then again, in MMA these days, the guard is not as effective as it used to be. Fighters are so good defensively against the full guard. I can definitely see where Islam wins that fight. Probably takes Burns to the ground against the fence, able to probably posture up, throw some ground and pound shots, try to pass through. Burns trying to scramble his way out of there, and then the whole handcuff situation is probably going to happen to Burns as well. Leon Edwards should be a tough fight. He's a well-rounded fighter, good takedown defense, much better striker than Islam has, but ultimately, I don't think he's going to be able to handle that style of wrestling. That leg riding style, single legs and all that stuff, push against the fence. I believe Islam should be able to win that as well. Vicente Luque is another interesting one. That's another tough fight, but ultimately, I don't know if he could stop the takedowns. Bilal Muhammad, I believe, is the easiest out of the bunch there. So the success for the welterweight division is nowhere near the same in the lightweight. At lightweight, it looks like Islam can beat most of these guys relatively easily. In welterweight, almost the entire top 5, besides Bilal, I believe, are tough fights for him. So we're potentially looking at the only fighter in that lightweight division right now who has the potential to win the belt, defend it, go up to welterweight, win that belt, become the first double champion from lightweight to welterweight, and make history become one of the greatest fighters of all time. If he does that, he's definitely higher than Khabib, and some people throw him up in that argument with guys like Jose Aldo and GSP, etc. Because here's the thing, man, what divisions have we had double champions in? Light heavyweight to heavyweight, featherweight to lightweight, flyweight to bantamweight, and then in the women's divisions, bantamweight to featherweight. We never had a lightweight and welterweight champion. We never had a bantamweight and featherweight champion, nor did we have a middleweight and light heavyweight champion. I believe the hardest divisions that do that in are from lightweight to welterweight and middleweight to light heavyweight because of how big the gap is in weight, with skill also being involved. Light heavyweight to heavyweight is a little bit different because most of the heavyweights aren't as skilled as the rest of the roster, so you could really get by with your speed and technique and stuff the way Daniel Cormier did. But in these divisions here, where Islam wants to have success, it's going to be difficult. And I give it more credit, maybe other than the middleweight and light heavyweight double champ.